I'm Sandy Selman. I'm one of the co-founders of CPROP. We're a US-based company that are developing blockchain solutions for the global real estate industry that address acknowledged pain points. So I'm enjoying a beautiful day here beautiful springtime day here in Moscow, on the balcony of the Grenadian embassy in the embassy quarter of downtown Moscow. It's really quite a place. The amount of investment coming out of Russia and CIS officially is estimated by the central bank. It's pegged at about $1 billion euro a year, but the unofficial estimates are it's about 20 times larger than that. When I draw a comparison of investment flows out of this region, cross-border real estate flows as compared to, say, a jurisdiction like China, the official estimates of cross-border investment were about $5 billion in 2010, and they increased 20-fold to over $100 billion by 2016. So the same sort of growth factors that have propelled investment out of China, I see at work here in this part of the world as well. What is it about CPROP that can help facilitate capital investment that wants to flow across borders? I think is what sort of the nature of the question in this part of the world, both coming out of Russia, CIS, as well as within Europe. So a lot of this investment is going into markets to achieve any number of objectives. It could be to get established residency. It could be to establish a place for retirement, to go into a lower tax jurisdiction. It could be for investment purposes. It could be to just provide stability just because of the hits to the ruble since 2015. And so investment as a result, we've seen in the last several years, has been increasing at a pretty rapid rate, but there's still a lot of friction associated with these cross-border investments. And where CPROP comes into play is that if you think about these countries, a lot of this investment is staying within the EU, and even though the EU is a single trading bloc, real estate is still a very local transaction market. When property is transacted for, it's the local rules, the local procedures, the local laws and regulations that come into play. And so when you're transacting at a distance, and especially cross-border, there's always going to be issues around unfamiliarity with local laws, local regulations, local processes, and local documentation. And this is where we see CPROP is slotting in and filling or addressing that pain point, because what we do is we integrate with the property portals in these different countries, and we provide a back-end integration, which is a transaction environment that provides complete visibility into what the documentation and the processes are for any particular transaction in that jurisdiction. So if you're integrating with property portals, does that mean that you're connecting the portals in some way? Because the portals are, they're databases that are somewhat islanded. There's not a lot of interconnectivity. And in Europe, this is a big issue in our view, because the countries are really not that big. And so in an ideal scenario, the way we see it is that the portals would be interconnected, so that if you're entering into a portal in Hungary and you're acquiring property in Greece, you could see the Greek property from your Hungarian portal. By integrating with Greek portals and Hungarian portals, CPROP will play a leading role in facilitating that integration. Now, that's the first way that this network will eventually coalesce and come together. The second thing that we're doing is with the service providers. So part of the CPROP solution is to provide a service provider directory of these service providers that you need to help you execute a transaction. So it could be a legal representative, it could be someone doing the inspection, it could be a contractor that you need to go and look at a place to provide an estimate for refurbishment or what have you. It could be a property manager if you're buying the property for investment purposes. And in our tokenized ecosystem, these service providers acquire tokens to buy memberships onto our platform and get included in that service provider directory. And then we utilize the token as a reward system to buyers and sellers to provide user ratings, to provide a much better quality controlled experience for buyers when they're looking for service providers at a distance. So similar to the concept I just described, where we would be a force to help bring portals together to share databases, we will be a force to provide a larger ecosystem, a larger regional ecosystem of service providers that are all user rated, which is something which does not now exist in the market. Everybody wants it, but nobody has it.
Sandy, we've been talking about the international expansion for CPROP and for your product. And I know we've talked about bringing you to Monaco and Switzerland, mainly because these are family office centers where international property is always a large percentage of their investments, and also because it is a certain type of high-end real estate that the portals that you're targeting are also going after.
Right.
How do you see that all fitting in together?
It's an interesting commentary because, as you point out, there's a lot of capital in these jurisdictions, and property is obviously a very popular investment class, an asset class. And so in terms of both inbound and outbound investment in and out of those jurisdictions, this is the market that we're targeting because it's ripe for this sort of concierge experience that we're creating in partnership with the portals. And by providing this greater level of transparency and efficiency and trust and authentication, this is the sort of concierge experience this class of investors should be well accustomed to and actually expecting.
Absolutely. I know Europe has always been a hotbed of activity for international investments. Part of that is because you have that generational transfer of assets happening, but also because Europeans like to invest not only in property for asset management, but also for second homes, retirement homes, perhaps more so even than Americans. Are you finding that here?
Yeah, it's a funny commentary. We always comment about the American lifestyle versus the European lifestyles, but no, yes, I totally agree with you. And as we were saying earlier, we were talking about this, the idea of investing from Switzerland into a jurisdiction, say like Greece, where perhaps the processes and the documentation is a little more ambiguous, or I know you were telling me earlier about the Italian market where you could have very unusual types of sign-off requirements for properties that might be sitting right next to each other. How could you possibly know about that, when you're transacting at a distance? So these are the sort of pain points that I think are, in a sense, they're unique to that part of the world, but then again, they're not really unique. Every area of the world, as we find, as we go around and talk to property portals in different parts of the globe, they all have these sort of idiosyncrasies that are addressed very well by a platform like what we're developing.
Well, it seems very logical because, of course, blockchain is making everything more efficient, whether it's stock trading, asset management, private equity investing. It's high time that we were able to bring that level of efficiency to the property investment market, because I think most people, like myself, who have purchased property abroad, even though overall we ended up having a positive experience, there were a lot of pitfalls associated with it that we were never told about. And if those pitfalls can be eliminated or the process can be made efficient, I think that you would see a major increase in international property investments.
Yes, it's about reducing the friction associated with transacting at a distance. And as we like to say, it's about safely transacting in a trustless world.
I like that a lot. I think you'll be seeing a lot more of CPROP in Switzerland and Monaco. We hope they'll be with us during the pre-Monaco Grand Prix forum, the blockchain forum, on May 17th and 18th at the Marriott Riviera.